Boom.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Tiger Den.
Yeah, we took a very long sabbatical.
I
heard you had a kid.
I don't even want to respond.
Okay.
No, we sent it back. It's fine. It's
okay.
part of the 30-day returns from Christmas. So,
Ooh.
No, actually,
Layover.
this is our first episode after break. Caleb, how was your break?
I don't even remember yesterday.
Well, how was yesterday?
Not good.
Not
I almost went in the ditch, actually.
That's not good. I actually stopped since I got somebody out of the ditch this morning.
Did you?
I was 5 minutes late to jazz band because of it.
Ooh.
Kids were mad.
Yeah.
I think they were just kind of hangry.
Yeah.
Well, we want to welcome you all back. This is our first episode of this side of the break.
Yeah.
Some of us spent 10 days in Florida, and it was just awful, horrible.
Did you?
Sitting on the beach in Key West, yeah.
Oh, I noticed
Sipping
a little
on-
bit more red on your face.
Yeah, sipping on
Mai Tais?
root beer.
Oh, yeah.
We are actually at the start of our second semester, which means we're halfway through the year,
Praise the Lord.
which means we're probably 20% through the basketball season. And it's true. But we've got a lot to get to, so let's get through some of the stuff.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to read through and congratulate our Students of the Month for January. We just had the ceremonies this past Wednesday and Thursday. In the junior high, we have Raina Hannikin, Hannah Gordon, Noah Abraham, Callie Norman, Bailey Ortiz, Sydney Hoopman, Evan Bonham, and Ariana Burns. Congratulations to all of them. As Mr. Halverson says, they're in the top 4% of the school at that point, and that's fantastic for them. In the senior high side of things, which is 9th to 12th grade, that was 5th to 8th grade, by the way.
Oh, okay.
We have Ryan Struess,
Oh.
Brianna Butrix, Smiley, Burke Netlin, the Guns A-Blazing kid. He is now famous, by the way. Check out his TikTok.
TikToks.
Yeah, he went viral. He thinks he's too cool for school now.
Yeah.
Tristan Siltman, Savannah Butcher, Chloe Andrus, Tylene Blaze, Callie King, and Cole Burrow. So congratulations to all of them.
Nice.
Well deserved, I'm sure, from all the speeches that I heard at the Student of the Month. Yes, there were some very fantastic things going on there. Hey, Caleb. It is January, and January means what? Snow.
No. I
And
was going to
lots of
say
snow.
coronavirus time.
That too.
Yeah.
Ooh. Did you get your shot?
2 reported cases in Minnesota. Watch out.
Oh, boy. What do you call a snowman party?
A snowbank?
A snowball.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got that one.
That's so stupid, isn't it? We're going to jump
wasn't
right
good.
into it. Caleb Travis, member of the boys basketball team. I have here our results, if you want to read them.
Oh, love to. Yeah, always.
From below the line there.
Below the line, we have Pillager, Minnesota. 66-33 with a win. Black Duck, Minnesota, loss. Monaga with a win. Red Lake with a loss. Cass Lake with a loss. And LaPorte was a reschedule. So on the 17th, it was a reschedule. Walker with a win. And then LaPorte with a win.
And I want to talk a little bit about 2 of those games. First of all, the Cass Lake game.
Cass
Lake, I know they're a little down from what they are, but they are generally a very tough team, and you guys played them really, really tough. You were there. Talk about that game.
Yeah, I would love to. Cass Lake Bena has always been a team of transition basketball and discipline basketball. They know how to set a pace. They can bring you down, and then they can put the pace down and then bring it back up in an instant when you're starting to get a little bit of momentum. But they have lost. This is not the same team Cass Lake has been in previous years, but they still are a very good team, and they still have a high chance of doing some really good things here in the playoffs.
Well, and looking at the stats, which I have in front of me here, it looks like Brady and Louis Beckers had really good nights, 33 and 19 points again. But the one thing that really sticks out to me, and we'll talk about this, is the free throw shooting. And this is one thing I've noticed for the boys. They're very good free throw shooters generally. They were 12 for 14 in that game. They only lost by 3 points to Cass Lake, which is very, very good. They do have that kid, what's his last name's Jacobs, I believe.
Yeah, Jarrell Jacobs.
Yeah, Jarrell Jacobs. He's a fantastic player.
He is.
Yeah, very good.
Nice.
The other one I want to talk about is the Walker game. Walker, I did get to watch part of this game. Big rivalry game.
Yeah,
Everybody
always.
gets up from this. And what was really fun about it was we were down 5 at halftime.
Yeah.
Came back to win by 8. Your thoughts on that game?
Walker, Minnesota. They lost a few players from last year. They lost, I can't remember his name, but a pretty big kid, and then Cole Rasmussen, number 5, I believe. That would go high-low action. They lost that, so you'd lose a few points there. But they're still a really good team. They just got a new coach this year, and he's done a really good job. And then here's the thing about Walker is they have kids underneath that are still coming up at the ranks, and they're still going to be really good. So watch for them.
That's one thing I was talking to a friend of mine about our team, and it seems like some nights we have a presence down low, and some nights we don't.
Yeah,
it's just
for
kind of
sure.
inconsistent in that center position.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think for us to have any sustained success going forward, I mean, obviously Brady and Louis are going to have good games and this and that, but we need the contribution from people like Champ, Brady, Ryan, people off the bench, those first couple off the bench, to support those guys because
you can only go so far
exactly.
as a player.
Yep, and I feel like that. One that's really stuck out to me that's been really improved this year is Casey Markham. He's such a. I've been trying to convince him to play baseball.
Oh, really?
As well as track.
Yeah. Oh,
because I know he does. I know he does track, but I would love to have him as a base stealer, like a courtesy running for the catch or something like that. So but he shows a little bit better vision and control, and doesn't have that panic that can happen with some younger players. So
well, I could do that. I could just give him the jazz hands, baseball jazz hands.
We know you are quick as a bullet.
My goodness, yeah, I am.
I mean, I think you ran like a 12-minute 40, right? Or was it 11 and a half minutes?
Oh, I don't remember. If I did.
Well, see, the problem is Caleb about halfway gets tired and lays down to take a nap.
No.
Then he's got to drink a naked
water.
Juice and have a sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, our sponsor today, they didn't pay us. We didn't get the check, so you get
we're
the
gonna
back
hold
of the
it
bottle.
back. Yeah, goodness, and inside 3.5 apples right there. I got 3.5 apples from this thing. Good grief! I didn't even have to eat the core.
Jeez. So, updating our standings here, looking at the Section 5A West standings. Right now, PRB boys are sitting in third place.
To an excellent Nevis team.
Yes, Nevis is in first place. Walker is in second. Although we did beat them, if we were to get into a tiebreaker situation with them, we would pass them. But right now the QRF has us in the third seed with about 10 games to go, so 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, the QRF is weird.
Yeah, we won't. That's a discussion for another day. Next thing on our list today, we've got so much to cover. I mean, we're going to cover everything today. I talked to Coach Jennifer Anderson of our speech team here,
okay.
And she said that they've only had one meet so far. They actually had one that was scheduled on the Saturday when we got the snow, which will be made up next Tuesday in Grand Rapids.
Oh, cool.
But at their first meet in Pequot Lakes, Kansas Tilbury finished 6th and advanced on to the finals in the category of informative speaking, and Jennifer said that she is hopeful that she can make a run this year and finally get over that tipping point. She's been really close the last few years of getting to the state meet, and so she's hoping that this being her senior year could do that.
Yeah.
Going on to our other activity that we have going on, we have our results, which involves you. I'll let you talk about this one.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, Knowledge Ball. So, for our teams, we took 5th and 7th, and we have 2 separate teams out of 33 teams, or a 33-team meet, and this is the 20th, and we are the 25th and the 20th overall in the 94-team region. So, yeah, Knowledge Bowl has been going pretty well.
Who's on that with you?
My team is Michaela Seibert, Ryan Erickson, and Malachi Whipper. The other team is Liam Peterson, Randall Yost, Aiden Egberts, and I know. Oh, good grief! I'm blanking. Randy Yost. Wow, this isn't good. Danny Irish. There we go. Okay.
So now explain to the layman person out there who has no idea what Knowledge Bowl is, how it works, what you do with this and that.
Okay, so senior high Knowledge Bowl is a little different than junior high Knowledge Bowl. Madame can talk about that once she gets on. But Senior High Knowledge Bowl, you have a written test, or an ABC test, and you can have 4 people on at a time doing that test. And most of the time what you'll do is you'll get a packet of 50 questions, and then most of the time my team will just rip it up and then disperse it out, and then each person will do a page, and then we'll put it down on the sheet. So after that, you'll bring it up, you'll get a score of however many you got. And based off that test score, like if I got a 32 out of 50, there's going to be other teams who are pretty close to me, so I'll get put into a room with like 2 other teams who are pretty close to me on the written test. So we'll go into a room and we'll sit down, and then we'll have another, and then only 4 people can go into a room, and then you'll get this green strip, and you'll be asked questions like, what happened, or where did this thing happen in 1966 or whatever, and you'll buzz in and you'll say the London fire. Well, the London fire happened in 1966, but you'll say London. If you get it right, the person will tell you, and if you don't, then other teams have a chance after you buzz in, if you buzz in first, and then it'll go down the order. And then if you do get it right, you'll get the point, and then whoever has the most points will keep moving up the leaderboard, and that's what you really want to do. Yeah. Cool. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot to...
It's very complex.
Yeah, it's very interesting, I'll say that.
I suppose it makes you more knowledgeable.
I don't know.
Speaking of junior high knowledge bowl, we are going to be joined in just a moment by our junior high knowledge bowl coach, and I will let her talk about how her kids today. So we would like to welcome, wearing about 4 different hats today, our French teacher, Madame Melanie Lindquist is here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are we doing?
Hello, everybody. I'm good. Thank you.
So you had your first junior high knowledge bowl meet today.
I did.
How did that go?
It went really well. We also had 2 teams go today. We had 25 teams. We had 25 teams there today. And out of the 25 teams, one of our teams came in 3rd. They get ribbons for the top 6 teams. So we were able to come in with the 3rd place ribbons. And then our other team tied 2 other teams, so we had a 3-way tie for 15th place for the other team. But those kids, that was their first meet today. They'd never been to one before, so pretty good. All 7th graders on that team. And out of the whole region, I believe we have 70 teams in the whole region, and that top team is in 15th in the region right now. But the thing for junior high is that we bring 7th and 8th graders. Our 9th graders can go either way. They can go to high school or junior high, and some high schools take their 9th graders like we do here. Our 9th graders go with our high schoolers, and some bring in their 9th graders to their junior high meets. So our 7th graders are going up against 9th grade teams. So like today, we were in 3rd, and the 2 teams ahead of us were both 9th grade teams, and we had 7th graders on our 3rd place team today, so pretty good.
Yeah.
We don't get the opportunity to have our 9th graders with me in junior high, so yep.
Awesome. Well, the first reason we have you here, actually second technically, is we have been rated as level 1, I believe, certified in HRS.
Yeah, no clue. I have no idea.
You know, I've been part of like learning about it, and I kind of still have no idea what it is. It's a really cool thing about something with something, and that's why we're here today. So Melanie is going to explain to us what it means and why this is such a good thing. And I believe there are 3 levels.
There's actually 5.
There's actually 5.
We're working on the 2nd and 3rd.
We're working on our 2nd and 3rd. Okay. So.
Yep. Okay, so you've probably heard a lot of people talking about HRS, or at least the teachers have all been hearing about this. It's starting to get out in the community because it was in the paper and it's been on our Facebook page and things like that. So first of all, HRS stands for High Reliability Schools. So if you just take each of those words individually and think about what that means, it kind of explains itself a little bit. But it is an initiative from an educational foundation, kind of a research company led up by Robert Marzano. And now Marzano is a person in the education world that all of his teachers hear about. You hear about him when you're taking all of your classes in college and everything. So he created this company. And basically what it is it's a systems check for your building. So businesses do this all the time. They're constantly checking and rechecking and making sure everything is running smoothly. And if something isn't, you kind of stop and you fix those things. Schools haven't always done that. And so some examples, and I'm going to give credit to Tina Hannikin for a few of these examples she gave me. But so like if you think about a hospital, and you constantly have to double check that everything's in place, because if something comes in, you need to make sure it's exactly where it's supposed, everything needs to be exactly where it's supposed to be. When a fireman come back from a fire, you don't just drop all your stuff. You have to put everything back in its place and make sure everything's there for the next time, that it's all, you're double checking equipment, all your clothing. If you're going on a trip, you double check that you've got everything that you need to go on your trip. And something I thought of too is, when you hear systems check, I think of like a rocket ship going. Like, you're not going to go blast off into space if you're not absolutely sure that everything is ready to go. So it's kind of, we're just checking different areas of our school and checking and double checking that everything is good, not just okay. We want everything to be good and going up. So the level 1 certification that we just achieved a few weeks ago that people have been hearing about is kind of the foundation of any school, which is making sure that everything is safe and collaborative and that we all feel safe here in the building. And we achieved that, and that's pretty awesome. Level 2 is all about PLCs, or peer learning communities, which all of us teachers are a part of, and that every classroom has effective teaching going on in it. And then level 3, we'll still be working on that. It's a little ways away from, is standard-based grading. The system of grading has been A, B, C, D, F for forever.
Longest
I mean,
time.
even my
Yeah.
parents and grandparents probably were A, B, C, Ds, and F, and we're starting to talk about, grading systems are changing. The students would recognize, sometimes 1, 2, 3s, and 4s. Are you proficient in things? It's not just all about a standard letter grade. So we'll be getting there eventually. But teachers are going to start asking themselves questions like, why am I teaching this? And are the ways I'm doing this achieving my goal of why I want to teach this? So it's a pretty cool thing. I think Mr. Halverson said yesterday that there's about 600 schools in the whole nation kind of starting to get these levels of achievement, and we're one of them now, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, very interesting.
Well, and for me, being a part of it, it's really helped me focus on stuff, especially as far as like thinking about, what do I do in my classroom? What do I want to do?
Yeah.
What is it that I want these and the standards help. And music's kind of weird because
Yeah.
literally we're just getting our standards now. We've had 9 very general, vague K to 12 standards, and now we actually have ones that we can kind of go off.
No.
I think part of the issue with standards-based grading is the understanding of why you do it, because there's so many people that are that they're brought up in the A, B, C, D, F, and even
Yeah.
looking at how do you translate that to college,
Yeah.
because colleges are still looking for GPAs and stuff like that. How do you translate all that stuff? That's probably going to be part of that level 3 certification. When did this process begin for us?
I think we're maybe in our 3rd year. I just joined leadership last year, and I mean, we were already right in the thick of it. I feel like I started hearing about it like 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
And I just want to add to it too, Mr. Kinzer and I are kind of in a unique position of like being our little own islands in the school, him being the high school band teacher, I'm the French teacher. We don't have other people necessarily who do exactly what we do. He
Yeah.
has, elementary music's a little bit different in its own way. And so over the years, I definitely have felt I don't want to say the word lonely, but I mean, I'm alone and I don't really have anybody else to talk to about what I do. And this HRS stuff and having our PLCs, and he and I are together in one, it's all kind of us elective people. We're talking about, good teaching is good teaching no matter where you are in whatever classroom you're in. And so it's been really cool to be part of these awesome conversations between teachers. It wasn't ever like that before.
Yeah.
I just met with myself most of the time. You'd have department meetings and be like, okay, well, I'm going to go meet with myself now.
Well, I mean, even to that effect, my first year here, which is 6 years ago now, our PLCs were a bunch of random people put together, and there was no real guidelines for what they were. And now we have very specific things, and it's not like you have to do this, but we want you to pick on what you want to work on, and then let's work on it together and try and collaborate and get better. And I think it's made all of us, for the most part, better teachers.
Yeah.
I feel like that, and I'm by no means perfect. I know that. But,
Yeah.
But
We've been able to go and watch each other. I don't know, have you been in a room yet, Caleb, when a whole troop of teachers walks in all of a sudden and watches the classroom?
Yeah.
No,
The,
not.
the instructional rounds.
Yeah.
I know they came in and watched me one time, and I'm hoping that, and talking with Tina about this, is that and in the future it's going to go a little more in depth with the instructional rounds, where they'll actually get to ask you questions in the moment and stuff
Oh,
like that.
nice.
Why are you doing this and this? And I've always said I would love for people, especially
Yeah.
for classroom management, for people to come watch me teach, because senior high, I've got 70 kids in there,
Yeah.
and keeping that under control can be
It's
a bit of
hard.
a headache sometimes. So.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to the fun stuff. Let us hear about you.
Yeah.
First of all, Caleb,
Yeah. What's
this
up?
is who we got to go to Quebec with. We
Yeah.
talked about our Quebec trip.
Oh,
right?
very much. Yeah.
And this is where the whole basis for the show came from.
Yeah.
So we have you to thank for that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. until
Oui,
today.
oui, bonjour, bienvenue. I
Look
got
at that.
some random words, French stuff.
You picked up a lot while you were there.
But the trip being aside, tell us about yourself, where you're from, a little bit of your story, things you want to share.
Okay. Well, I don't have an easy answer when people say, "Where are you from?" That brings me into a long conversation. But I was born in Minnesota, in Albert Lee. I moved away from when I was like a year old, and I don't think I've ever been back to there ever since, so I don't know anything about it. But we moved around a little bit when I was a kid. I lived in Litchfield a little bit. I was in Wadena for a couple of years. My parents are business owners, and it was different business opportunities that were arising. But when I was in 5th grade, we moved out to Maine, the state of Maine, which is in the United States, which some
Yeah.
people ask me where Maine is. And so 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, I was in Maine, which is right next to Quebec, which is why I speak French now, because French was just a language that was commonly taught, and I heard it all over. And then in the summer before my senior year of high school, my parents sat me down and told me we were moving back to Minnesota. So as you can imagine, as a person going into my senior year, I was not very happy. I tried to stay back, but my parents wouldn't let me, and now I get it as a parent. But so we came back to Minnesota, and my parents had bought a company in St. Cloud. So I went from a school not too much bigger than Pine River here in Maine. It was just maybe more like Pequot sized, and into St. Cloud Tech, which at that time, I went from a class of about 200 to 500 and some kids. And people thought I was a foreign exchange student. They kept asking me what country I was from, because I was a senior, and I don't know, I must have an East Coast accent at the time or something.
You didn't answer with South Canada?
Should have. They would have known that better than some of them knew where Maine was. But, so I was a little bit of a lost soul that year, but I will say that my language classes and band were still my favorite places to be, and I met some friends in both of those places, and they didn't have a high enough French level for me at that time, because I'd been in it for a while, and so I took independent study, but I started to take German. And then my German teacher, just for fun, I'd never even heard of German being a language that was taught. We didn't have it at my school in Maine, so we had Spanish, French, and Latin at my school. And so anyway, he saw in me kind of a knack for languages, and told me about a school called Concordia College in Moorhead that was known for its language programs, and kind of thought maybe it would be a good fit for me. So I went to go tour there and ended up going to school there. And was in music and language classes there as well. Started in business. Was not for me. My parents were business people, so they just thought that I should do that too, and switched over to education, and in the meantime met my now husband, Eric, who was also there, and taught in Moorhead for 3 years, and then made the move over here, because Eric's in forestry and there are no trees in Fargo Moorhead. So
I don't think there's anything besides wind and snow.
There's
out
a
Yeah.
lot
there.
of wind.
Yeah.
So we moved here in 2000, and we've been here ever since. So,
Awesome. Well, next question I have for you,
Okay.
and then Caleb thinks, because he
Yeah.
likes to have thinking time.
okay.
I love
Because
that.
you'll be on the spot next.
Yep.
Share with us a good, funny, happy, favorite teaching memory that you have of some sort. It can be anything you want, just something that's always stuck with you.
Oh, here in school? Because, I mean, I can come back to that. When I think about awesome memories. It's always the traveling. All the travel that I've done with students, that's always fun. To see your students using what you're teaching every day in real life. It's pretty awesome instead of just, reading out of a textbook. But let's see, here in school, funny moments. Maybe you should give me an example of what you would say, and then it'll make me think of what I would say.
Well, what I would say is usually when I've had a couple kids that, you being a band person would know this, there are some things that you can say that are very specific to instruments that can be taken very, very wrongly.
Yeah.
And I've had students that would say something to that effect. And totally meaning it innocently in about their instrument. It's one of those things where you just sit there and try not to laugh. There's, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah,
on
you want to say one of the phrases.
I don't want to say one of those phrases, but I do remember that it was when Gabby Heck was in 8th grade was one that I specifically remember, and and as soon as she said it, her face turned beet red because she realized what she had said, and I kind of felt bad for her.
I definitely have had a couple of, both ways where a kid has tried to say something in French and it comes out in English in some other weird way, or they're trying to say something and I know what they're saying and it's not coming out right, but I just have to hold back. But let's see, happy memory. I just think as a whole, just feeling here like a big family, and just because my own kids go to school here too, I don't know, I feel pretty lucky to do what I do and be able to kind of bring kids out into the world and kind of see a bigger picture. As much as I love Pine River and I love being here, I like kids to know that there's more out in the world as well. Does that kind of make sense?
I think that's one thing that you and I have both always agreed on is the traveling. People ask me why we travel as bands and choirs, and we don't always get the entire band, and we can't always perform as a full band, and we do some performances and stuff like that, but it's just seeing the world, seeing that there's other stuff out there, experiencing things that you're not going to experience in Brainerd or Pine River and that. And I will always tell students, you can always come back. Go see the world.
Yeah.
Remember that, Caleb.
Tell my
Sing
kids.
I can always come back.
Wow, you sound so excited about it.
Hey, yeah.
All right, you got a question?
Oh, yeah.
I'm scared.
Come back.
You had all this time to think.
Well, I
all
like
right, I have
listening.
one more this is a fun one.
I'm a listening.
Okay.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food. Well, my first thing I think automatically is pasta because I love pasta. But
Pasta.
yeah, I gotta go with pasta.
Yeah.
Pasta.
Any specific meat sauce or?
I actually more like vegetables or like an Alfredo sauce or
Okay.
like just olive oil and vegetables and pasta. I
Fantastic.
like sauce, but I go for the veggies first.
When Madame brings it up, though, I kind of thought about this. I went to CLC and I looked over, and one of the worst things that ever happened to Brainerd, or the Brainerd Baxter area, is Olive Garden left.
Oh, I know.
And I was reminded of that yesterday, and I sat there. I almost started crying. I was like, I was so sad.
But that Mexican place went.
Yeah,
but
good. But I like Olive Garden.
Well, I think what's sad is in Brainerd we have 5 Mexican places,
Yeah.
and there is nowhere to get good pasta.
Yeah.
There is the place in Cross Lake for pasta.
Yes,
Mas
Maciere's is
What's
very
that?
good.
Mas
Oh, it's
Sierra's.
fantastic.
I think there's a new place in Nisswa or someplace.
Oh
too that
yeah,
I
the
saw.
market. It's called the
or something.
I don't know.
Ask Casey Markham. He was there. I saw his dad posted on Facebook.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Hi, Jason, if you're listening.
All right. Well, did you come up with one yet, or you're still stumped? He's not very good at asking the question.
No, I don't.
What did you ask the last person you interviewed? I'll just answer the same question.
Here's one of them. How about we do, who was your favorite teacher and why?
Ooh.
Oh, boom,
I like
Kinzer,
that.
thanks.
Oh, can I say more than one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got time.
This is free verse. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
scripts here. You can talk about 60
I
if you
have
want.
3 or 4.
Okay.
Well, my junior year was an interesting year just because the class, so my English and history class were together, and so there were 2 teachers in the room at the same time teaching history and English, which was an awesome way to do it, because you'd like be reading the book, but then you'd be doing the history behind whatever was going on at the time that the book was set in, and being out in Maine and being such a, an older state. I remember when we were talking about the Civil War, we actually went out to a cemetery, and there were Civil War graves all over out there, and then we did like grave rubbings, and then we like tracked the person back. Of course, back then it was before all the internet stuff that you can do now, so we actually had to go to like the archives in Augusta, the capital of Maine, and looking back through all the actual records and microfiche and all that stuff. You might remember all that.
I remember yep.
So that class was really cool. So Mr. Ray and Mr. Burns, the history teacher who has now passed away since then, I heard, and Mr. Burns was my English teacher. So those 2 stood out. Of course, my French teacher, because I wouldn't be doing with what I'm doing now if it hadn't been for her, Madame Homan. And then I would also say my band teacher, Mr. Eldridge. He was amazing too, but he also has passed away. I'm really feeling old right now. Those two teachers have passed away.
Well, luckily we're only broadcasting this in 720, so
Yeah.
the oldness won't show.
Thanks.
I think, you know what we should do?
What?
We should do like a live action broadcast, and let's go ghost hunting.
Ooh.
That would be fun.
The
Tiger Den Live.
The ghosts of Pine River Bacchus. Ooh. That could be fun.
That
All right,
could be a ton of fun.
my last one for you. If you could tell anything, or if you have a message for those kids watching, younger, older, this could be seniors, what would you tell them based on your own experiences that they, looking back and, something that you should absolutely do or not do, or?
One thing I would say is just myself personally wish I would have maybe done some more traveling that before I kind of got more tied down with having a family and all that. So I would say, I think I worried too much about this thing or that, or maybe the money, which of course is an issue, but wish I would have done that more. But then I think just looking back too at myself in high school, I wasn't the most insecure person, but I can see that I probably should have been a little more confident in myself and realized that when you get to our age, some of the things that you think matter so much back then, they really don't matter. So some of the drama and stuff, so if you're going through drama right now, I would just say it's not going to matter pretty soon after high school is all done, I promise.
That's fair. And one thing I will say about you two, for those of you that don't know, this is my 6th year. We've done 6 musicals, and at 5 of the 6, Melanie has played flute for me. One didn't require flute, so you were excited because you actually got to watch the show.
I got to watch the show.
But she is a fantastic flute player, piccolo as well, and we are actually going to have her with us for our finale song at our next concert on February 24th. She's going to play the piccolo for us, and I am very excited to be able to have her do that, and I should probably get you the music at some point.
That'd be great.
And but she is quite good at it, and I'm very excited for her children to get a little older so she can start performing with some of the local groups that I know she would like to, but she's just got so much stuff going on, and that's totally understandable. Yeah. So, well, thank you for being here. Thank you for explaining HRS. I feel like I have a better grasp on it. Caleb still has no idea.
Yeah, no idea.
He has no idea.
I was thinking about my jazz flute playing.
Ooh.
No.
He has an attention span that could be measured in nanoseconds. So.
Oh no. Oh, what were we talking about?
So.
I like how your jazz flute you were playing it the wrong way.
Yes. Well, don't you play it like this? 2 hands here? Yeah.
His hands. Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. We've got 4 more things on the docket we got to talk about.
4 more.
First thing, we've got girls basketball. So, Caleb.
Yeah, I would love to.
You want to go through the results, starting with the Mountain Iron Buell tournament.
Mountain Iron Buell. Cromwell. Right. Loss. No, Cromwell, right, loss or Cromwell. Mountain Iron Buell was a loss.
And let's talk about that. That was up in Mountain Iron Buell.
Yeah, that's a drive.
It was over Christmas break. as a tournament. But it should be noted that they did lose both of those games fairly handily. But Mountain Iron, Buell, and Cromwell are ranked in the top 5 in state both right now, with a record of 11-4 and 15-2 respectively. And I think Cromwell, if you ask anybody, Cromwell's probably the team to beat in there. I think it might come down to that. Cherry might have something to say in Section 7.
Yeah.
But Cromwell's those are two very good teams, and
it's a big section too.
And I think, talking about our girls, we'll get there in a minute, but it's the same kind of thing, is that it starts inconsistency up the middle. It really does. And that's nothing to say about Ramsey, because Ramsey's doing fantastically well, but she's just young and inexperienced. So continue on with the rest of the results there and give us some scores and dates, and we'll talk about some stats.
So let's see. Friday, January 10th, Clearbrook-Gambic was a loss. Tuesday, January 14th, Catholic-Bena was a loss. Then the LaPorte game was rescheduled. Tuesday, January 21st, Black Duck was a loss. And Thursday, January 23rd, LaPorte was a win.
Awesome.
Yeah.
These stats they don't have the last 2 or 3 games in there, but these are the team stats here. They're averaging 64 points a game, which is fairly good for that. I know some of that gets staggered when you play a couple teams that are fairly weaker. I know I talked to the coach at Northland Reamer, and they played Ogilvie. And Northland Reamer, their boys team, is a 500 team. I think they're 7-6, 8-6, somewhere in there. And they beat Ogilvie somewhere, it was like 107 to a lot less than 107.
Yeah.
And in talking to him, it's one of those where he goes, we could have scored 167. We were being really polite. We had our JV in the whole second half, and sometimes that just happens too. Yeah. One thing that I do want to point out right now is that our 2 best shooters percentage-wise on the team are Jamie Johnson and Riley Hershey. And I know Jamie's
been out.
She's been out with an injury, so her percentage might be a little higher than it normally would.
Yeah.
But Riley's shooting at 47% from the field, which is a fairly good percentage.
Yeah.
And I think if you talk to Coach
Randall,
the Schwags, he would tell you that the biggest struggle with this team this year has been their free throw shooting.
Yeah.
That has been the difference in a couple of games, and that is the difference probably from where they're sitting 8-7 right now to maybe being 10-5 or 11-4 even.
Yeah.
In that, and it's one of those weird things where you practice, and they can practice and shoot well in that, and then it gets to game time and it's just not there.
Yeah.
And that's tough. But I will say this: our team is fairly young. You've got. Of course, Emma Barkus is a senior, and but you've got a couple others that are, Jamie and Olivia and Riley and Ramsey that have been playing, as well as I'm missing. My mind is a blank right now. That are underclassmen. Of course, you got Emma Barkus and Sydney Lodge as seniors, but it'll be a fun year, and I think they'll have a good trip down the road here. The thing about it is too, with their schedule, they're playing some very tough teams. Can I see that paper there?
Yeah.
I mean, just if we're looking, I got the section standings right here, but they've got games against. They play Walker here coming up twice in the next week and a half. Who was 13-1. Those are going to be 2 tough games.
Yeah. Good Walker team.
Yeah, but you've got, like I said, Cromwell and Mountain Iron Buell, who are 15-2, 11-4. You've got Cass Lake, who's 11-5.
Yeah. Would have not expected that.
Yep, and I know Wadena is about 500, and I think the one anomaly on there is Clearbrook-Gonvick.
Yeah.
But that was a 1-point loss. But they are a 500 team.
Yeah.
So they're 7-6. So they're not the bad losses, just that they're not winning the ones that are those close ones.
Yeah.
And that at least they're winning the ones that they should. So coming up in the future here, we've got tonight. Obviously, probably by the time this gets loaded, it'll be too late. They play IO, but next Tuesday is Walker, Hackensack, Akeley. Next Friday they play, I believe it's Northholm that's coming down for that. And then they have Upsala, Walker, and at Upsala, at Walker, at Browerville, and at Swanville coming up on the 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 18th of February.
And Pillager.
And Pillager at the end of the season there at home to close it out. And to get to that too, with our boys, if I can get back to my...
Oh, I got it.
You got that one?
Yeah.
With our boys here, their upcoming schedule. They have Nevis and Northholm next week at home, Thursday and Friday, and then they're basically on the road for the rest of the season. They've got Browerville, Red Lake, Black Duck, Onamia, Swanville, and McGregor. And that. Now, I will say this, and we'll talk about this again. We talked about the restaurants thing in the past.
Yeah.
If you are going to the boys' game in McGregor, you're going to
Yeah.
have to go through Hill City probably. And Reamer. There is a good place in Reamer.
Is there?
Yeah, and it's a little out of the way, so you might go through
The
Emily.
Bigfoot Den?
No, it's called it's called the Woodsman Cafe.
Oh, okay. I
Okay.
think I've heard of that. Yeah.
And they're famous for the Woody.
What
It's
is that?
It's their burger. Their
Okay.
famous burger there, but it's a nice little cafe. If you're going through Emily over to McGregor that way, but if you're up in that northern part, up the back or whatever, and you end up you want to swing up through that way, there's a good restaurant there. It's very
good.
good. I used to frequent there when I lived up that way.
Oh.
So. Going on to our next, they're actually at a competition right now. Their
Yeah,
third competition.
You got that. I have no idea.
Yes, you want to the
No,
the French?
yeah, no, you got
Okay,
it. Yeah.
so our dance team, and I do want to start with this. They danced at halftime. Was it the first week back or right before? I think it was the first
yeah,
week back.
something like that. Yeah.
And I was really impressed. They had only had 8 girls out there. Gracie was not able to dance that night, but they did fantastically well. It was, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert about dance,
Yeah.
but it was very clean, and it was very fun to watch, and people were cheering. And I don't remember that in the past when there was dance teams, when we had dances at halftime before. And I know these girls work very, very hard. They put in a lot of hours and this and that. So if I can explain a little bit of how the judging and stuff like this works. You go, and they have a certain number of judges, 5 or 6, 6 to 7, something like that. And this is going based off of what Coach Finlay had given me. And what they do is they score you on different categories. And so let me find the sheet here. The categories that they have for like kick, for the high kick judging, they have 2 categories in kicks, which is kick height and the techniques. And there's a bunch of small, posture, placement, and stuff like this. Choreography, difficulty, and execution, and then overall routine effectiveness. And they get a score out of 100. And then what the judges do is they actually rank each team based on the points they get. So at this particular meet, there was Wadena, Frazee, Crosby, Ironton, Pelican Rapids, United Clay Becker, Bagley, Black Duck, Aiken, Monoman, Dilworth, Glendon, Felton, and Pine River Bacchus. And so what they would do then is based on the number of points that they give each team, they rank them 1 through 11.
Okay.
And if there's a tie, then it would be, like, say they tied for 5th place, then they would each get 5.5 because that would be the 5th and the 6th place.
Oh, okay.
So what they do then is, in this particular case with the 6 judges, they throw out the 1 worst ranking and the 1 best ranking. So Pine River was 9, 9, 9, 10, and 10 of the teams that were there. So they throw out one of the 10s, throw out one of the 9s, which gives them a total of 28. And then they add up those numbers, the 3 remaining, which was 9, 9, and 10, and that gives them the 28, which they tied for 9th. And so the winning team, their total was 3, because they were ranked. Frazee was ranked number 1 by all 5 judges.
Oh, okay.
They throw out a 1 and 1, so they got 3, and that's kind of how they do it. And so, and I don't know. I'm not going to go into anything about how we compare to other schools. I don't know how any of that works and stuff like that. I know that with a new coach in her second year and a kind of a rebuilding, but just on the eye test that I saw, I was very happy. I was very excited. I loved the uniforms,
Oh, yeah.
and it seemed like they were really excited and happy and into it, really
Yeah.
focused. And I hope that they can find a little bit of success. Like I said, I'm not even going to pretend to know the intricacies of how they're judged, and pointed toes and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I do want to mention them, and we are going to plan on having in the next couple episodes here. I would like to get somebody from dance,
Oh, yeah.
from speech, and obviously we have somebody from knowledgeable already.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But get somebody on here from there that can kind of give us a little more insight into that.
Yeah.
So, but in talking with the coach, she was just very proud of how
that's
much
good.
work they've done, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of pressure, but good for them.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it's back and it's starting to go again. So there's getting to be some interest. So, all right, we got 2 more things to cover.
Okay.
First of all, we want to talk about upcoming events.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Let's talk about wrestling, and then we'll go to upcoming events.
That's a good idea.
I'm going to call an audible. So, very quickly,
What's
I'm going to
that?
go through an audible.
Yeah, I didn't learn that much from football.
Omaha.
Yeah,
Peyton
okay.
Man-
Yeah, no. Yeah, I know Peyton Manning, yeah.
Peyton Manning.
I love Peyton.
Yeah, he was the guy.
He's
that,
really funny. He's hilarious, actually. Have you seen the video where he's when he's doing it with the kids, the football quarterback with the kids, and he throws it at the back of their heads and stuff?
I have not.
No, you should watch it. It's really funny.
I might have to look that up.
Yeah.
I think you guys should too. It sounds funny.
but they swear, so don't play it at school.
Oh, God. Really quickly, I do want to go through our wrestling results here. We've got, since the beginning of the year, they had a duel with Black Duck Cass Lake Bena, which was a victory. They had a quad, it looks like, with Pine City Hinckley, Rush City Bram, and Proctor Hermantown. All 3 were victories for them on the 7th. Nice. On the 10th, they had another quad with Kirkhoven, Murdoch, Sunberg, United Clay Becker, and Canby. 2 victories there with a loss, 36-25 to Canby. It looks like they placed second at the tournament on the 11th. Victories over Hibbing, Virginia, and Dilworth, and then a loss to Thief River. Today, actually, they're in Pequot Wrestling for the conference.
The conference, yeah, the big
with Aiken, meeting. Crosby, Detroit Lakes, Park Rapids, Staples. It is a 5-way, 6-way, I don't know, six, whatever it is. I don't know how you what 6 is, whatever it is.
Septillion or something
but
like
looking
that.
at the standings here, they don't have QRF rankings right now
well, praise the Lord, those things gyp you.
But right now, looking at the section standings, Perham, Pine River Bacchus, and Thief River Falls are kind of the top 3 that have separated themselves from the field. And right now, it looks like we did wrestle Thief River, and it was fairly close, 48 to 24. But that can easily be switched if you get a 12-point swing on a pin. Now all of a sudden it's 42 to 30, and it's a match.
Yeah.
So, in talking with Coach Hoffarth, sorry, I've got an itch in my ear here.
No, that's fine.
Talking with Coach Hoffarth, he's hopeful that they'll be able to make a section run here, but they always have that daunting task of that perennial power and Perham sitting at the end.
Oh,
there.
God.
How do you like that alliteration?
Yeah.
The perennial power of Perham.
Yeah, Perham's always had really good sports from cross country. Oh, for sure, cross country and track.
Yeah.
Oh, God, they're great.
So we wish all our student athletes and our participants and knowledgeable in them. Good luck. I know that we have wrestling goes to Grand Rapids this Thursday, and then they're in Sauk Center on this Friday. We have a quad up in Grand Rapids. They have a quad up in Grand Rapids, and that. Getting to our current events that we have coming up on the calendar here. Next week is snow days.
Yeah, it is.
So if
Always
you want to go through, because you did such a great job this morning.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Talk about our 5 theme days next week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Okay, so Monday is... Okay, so Monday the 27th, that's the first day. We're going to do a dress-up theme, is ready to travel. So I'll just read the little thing we have here. Come ready to travel in the comfy clothes, tacky tourist wear. Okay, so stuff like that and accessories for traveling. 2 o'clock candidate walkthroughs will happen, and voting will start at the end of the school day. So you'll have from Tuesday then to Thursday, so you'll have about 3 days to vote. Tuesday is going to be dress up. The dress up day is into the jungle. So remember your hiking and rain gear, because we'll be spending a day in the jungle. And if hiking is not your thing, you could take a walk on the wild side and wear some wild animal prints.
Ooh. I'm going leopard print myself.
I'm going cheetah.
Once a cheetah, always a cheetah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, let's just let that one pass.
Okay. So then we'll do a dress-up theme, Outback Day for Australia, and we're paying tribute to our friends down under, like Steve Irwin in his khakis, or come dressed up in the colors red, white, and blue. Yeah, pretty nice. Then Thursday is going to look like this. 8:30 snow days get dress rehearsals for seniors only, so nobody else. Voting for King and Queen will end at 3:15 that day. And dress-up theme is tropical Thursday, so like Hawaiian short length, like, and all that. It's pretty easy. Friday, packed schedule. 9 o'clock, Snow Days Coronation will happen. 10:30 is a pep fest. 11 o'clock is games/activities, so those are the ones on the wall. Please go sign up. 1 o'clock, boys basketball game. 5:30, girls basketball game. And the theme is whiteout because we're trying to change it up this year. Also, during this week, we are going to do a change war. So how that's going to consist of is we're going to have each grade have a bucket in a classroom. So the 7th grade will have, I think it's Deb Schleter or something, or Steph Bristow. The 8th grade will have Deb Schleter. And you will bring all your change in and put it in the bucket. And at the end of the day, we'll count it all up, put your total on the board that we'll have outside the office. And at the end of the week, we will give the person or group, well, the grade, a prize. And all that money will be going to the Steve Irwin Foundation in Australia because we're doing some fundraising for Australia because of the wildfires. Also during the week, we'll have for the game, I want to say the boys basketball game on Friday or Thursday. I can't remember exactly which one off the top of my head. We're going to be having a 3-throw contest for pop. And then for the girls' game on Friday, we're going to do the Eye of the Tiger balls and all of that super fun stuff. And I don't know what the prize is for that. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, if you come to the game, I bet you'll find out.
Oh, yeah. I'll be there.
Absolutely.
And then we'll be doing split the pot for the Thursday game for Nevis and Friday for the girls.
Awesome.
Yeah, for Australia.
Alrighty. Well, the last thing we've got on our list, I just want to announce, February 8th, it's a Saturday, 7 p.m., our jazz band, the PRB Jazz Band, is hosting Pequot Lakes and Pillagers Jazz Bands for a jazz extravaganza.
Ooh.
And we will be there in the performance gym at 7 o'clock. Come, watch us. It's free. It's a nice hour and 15 minutes of just some great jazz music from 3 high schools. I know Rob Freelove and Mike Summerness at Pillager and Pequot are excited, too, to come up here. And we're going to make this a regular thing. We're going to hopefully rotate it between the 3 locations. So next year, we will host every 3 years.
Off?
We could.
I would love to see that.
But the feature, at the end, we're going to feature all 3 groups together in one massive chaos of music. The directors are going to play and solo. It's going to be a good time. February 24th, because I'm pitching my own stuff, band concert Monday night. That's 2 days before we go to state contest. In Staples, we're getting prepared for that. The band's starting to sound good. It's coming together.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And last but not least, we want to recognize our Snow Days candidates.
Yeah.
We have on the girls' side, Anna Feldhaus, Kansas Tilbury, Isabella Netland, otherwise known as Bella, Gaia Scotton, who is our foreign exchange student from Italy, and Cynthia Tenier. And on the guys' side, we have Tony Terry, Brady Kilcheski, Jaden Cramp, Jorge Davidson, Georgie, and none other than our own Caleb Travis.
Yeah, I made it.
Good luck. You'll get my vote for something. I do want to share with you two quick stories here before we get done. The first thing I mentioned this. Gaia is a foreign exchange student from Italy.
Italy.
Italy. I hope she doesn't watch this because she'll probably yell at me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share with this. So there's things where Madame had talked about translations earlier. And we were in class one day, and one of my things to say is, like, I want you to play. And I'm like, come on. And I looked at her and I said, how do you play come on, or how do you say come on in Italian? And she goes, Dai, which is D-A-I. But she, like, screamed it at me. And it was so funny because she didn't realize that she was saying die. And she didn't get, she knows what the translation is and this and that. And all of a sudden she kind of looked, she was like, so that's kind of been our thing, is good day, which means come on. But I want to end with this here. I was traveling one time. I was in Dallas, Texas, and I got stuck there for snow, of all things.
Oh, really?
And Madame made me think of this story when she said that people didn't know that Maine was a state. I was living in Grand Forks, North Dakota at the time, and I was talking with this lady who was also stuck there, who had flown from like Houston to Dallas and then was waiting in Dallas to go wherever she was going to go. And we were struck up a conversation. We were talking, and she goes, "Oh, you're from North Dakota. Do they have paved roads up there?"
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sitting there going, like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't even. And this is not, it's not like back in, like Mr.
1800s,
DeMar's time,
yeah.
the
Oh,
70s
God.
or 80s. I mean, we're talking, this is 2006.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, like, what do you got to do?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. So,
Well, and they have, isn't their speed limit 80 miles per hour? Isn't it?
I don't think so. I
think
know.
it's in South Dakota, maybe.
South
I know
Dakota
it's fast.
75. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know
Yeah,
it's
North
fast.
Dakota 75. Yeah, I thought you meant Texas. I
No,
was going-
not Texas. No.
Texas doesn't have a speed limit.
No.
They just have cows.
Oh, yeah.
Cattle. We will be back with you in a week or two. We'll have new guests, exciting stuff, riveting entertainment, and great jokes.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you all a time-traveling joke, but you guys didn't like it.
Yeah.
So, Caleb, till next
No,
time.
that's a really good one. I think
you
we
get
should.
that one?
Yeah. When you're talking about Texas, I think we should try to get Matthew McConaughey.
Ooh.
That would be fun. We
We'll
should
have
try to get a celebrity.
Either that or